Hi guys, in this tutorials we are gonna see about functions and higher order functions in Scala. Scala supports functional programming approach. It provides a rich set of built-in functions and allows you to create user-defined functions. In Scala, functions are first-class values. You can store function value, pass function as an argument, and return function as a value from another function. You can create function by using def keyword. You must mention return type of parameter while defining function, and return type of a function is optional. If you don't specify return type of a function, default return type is unit. Unit in the sense it doesn't return anything. Let's see the syntax declaration of function. Def. This is how we define a function in Scala. Function name, then parameters, in the above syntax equal to operator. Operator is like returning or assigning the value. You can create function with or without this equal to operator. If you use it, function will return a value. If you don't use it, your function will not return any values. Let's get into an example and write an example with this equal to operator and without this one. Let's see how to write a function. I'm writing a function as Scala function. I'm writing a parameter as empty. Then I am printing something. Functions in Scala. This is defining a function, and here I'm going to call that function. Let's see the output of this function. You can see that it returns correctly. Then we can try it out with an equal to operator. if you give an equal to operator here over here, it means the function is going to return something. So we have to give and return something. Hello. Let's save it and check out. You can see that it worked correctly. Then we need to check whether it's written correctly or not, right? So I'm printing this Scala function and saving it in here. Then I'm printing the result and saving it again. Let's check. Sorry. I need to compile it first and then run it and check it. It worked properly. You can see that the value has been returned from the function. Now let's see how to give a parameterized function in Scala. In here I am declaring an int and b, which is also an integer. Okay. To here I'm returning a value of c. Then I am passing this to integer 5, 10, and I'm saving it over here. And let's see what's the output of this one. You can clearly see this. The output is correctly given in parameterized constructor. Let's see how to do a recursive function. I'm going to write one program which is going to multiply two numbers by using recursive function. You can create recursive functions. Be careful while using recursive function. There must be a base condition to terminate program safely. Let's see how to write a function. I'm returning the return type of this function is integer. I'm writing one condition. If a equal to 0, this should be the condition. It returns 0, or else a plus function let's see Scala function let's see p minus 1. Let's check out how it works. I'm saving it. Found an error. Oh, let's save this. Do this again. What it does is it just print out. It just called the function 30 times. Oh, sorry. It has some stack overflow error. Let's see why it throws this error. See. The value is 5 now. Let's see how to work with the function which has a default value. The default value is nothing but these values will be defined with by its default value is 0. This is how we need to define the default value of the program by equating it with 0. Then we can also pass a variable name along with the parameters while calling a function. Like in here, a is equal to 5. In here, b is equal to 10. So that it will be easy for us to clarify which thing we are calling a. Calling using parameter. Return values. I think we don't need this thing. The next topic we are going to see about higher order functions. Higher order function is a function that either takes a function as an argument or returns a function. In other words, we can say the function which works with the function is called higher order function. Higher order function allows you to create a function composition, lambda function or anonymous function. Usually while calling a function we can pass other function in to other function as a parameter. Let's see an Scala example how to pass a function as a parameter in a function in another function. Let's see. There is a main function. Another function is there. The output of this variable can be anything. I'm giving us illegal, and it's going to return nothing. Let's do simple subtraction. Then you can put this function in main method. Then I'm passing this function while calling it in another function. Save it, and let's see what the output it gives. It shows like a not found value f of a. Oh, sorry. Now it runs. It gives the correct answer. You can clearly see this. I have written a subtraction as one function and a scalar function which is going to return any of the values. So I have called this function in main method and passed this function as another variable, which means I'm going to assign this b for another function, and this function is going to return any value, and it's getting saved, and it's going to throw output which was decided by us. Now let's see the function composition. Function composition. Um function can be it can be composed from other function. It is a process of composing in which a function represents applications of two composed functions. I mean, let's see. Then we have a plus 25 and save it, and let's check what's the output of this one. Oh, I forgot this to print this result. You can clearly see that what it does is I'm calling a function and passing a function of another thing. The first what will work is I'm calling a subtraction function which is going to minus 5 from 100, and then the return type of this is going to Scala function, which is like going to add plus 25 to it and return the value and saving it in result and printing it. The value is coming as 120, which is correct. Then in functions in Scala there is one special type of function known as lambda function, or it may be called as anonymous function. In this function that has no name but works as a function. It is good to create an anonymous function when you don't have to use the same function again. Let's see how to write this anonymous function here. Let's okay. This is known as an anonymous function. This symbol is known as rocket symbol in Scala. Now I'm creating another one result. Which is underscore me underscore, and I'm typing an integer, which means any value can be taken in this function. This means we can give anything as an input to this function, whether whatever the variable it can be, it will automatically call it. Let's take these things out. 40. I'm saving this and let's see what will be the output of this program. As you can see this, the first one throws 30 plus 40, 70, and the second function second anonymous function throws 50 plus 50, which is 100. You can clearly see this, like both the things is correct. The way of defining this anonymous function is different. In the first one, we are using a rocket, which is going to do as a plus b. In the second function, it is going to take anything as an input, but it should be the type of integer. If you pass like pass string over here and try to run this program, it will throw an error because of the type which we have defined in the program. You can see that one error found. The value is string, which means the type is mismatched. So we change it, save it, and when we run it, we are going to run this again. As you can clearly see, the output is correct. And one more thing in Scala is Scala can be defined in multiline, which means this is if you define like this, however, it's going to take it in a correct way. But if you have forgot to give this braces, it will throw an error that the function is not rendered correctly. So we have to give this one. This is known as multiline expression in Scala. The next thing we have to go into see is Scala function currying. In Scala, method may have multiple parameters list. When a method is called with a fewer number of parameters list, then this will yield a function taking the missing parameter list as its arguments. In other words, it is a technique of transforming a function that takes multiple arguments into a function that takes a single argument. Uh, let's see an example of this one. Let's see how it works. I'm saving this function. It throws an error. Let's see what's the error. It shows like not found value add. Oh, sorry. Let's see what's happening. You can clearly see this was the output of this program. The first one is like passing the two values using the curry function, which means the parameters which we are passing is like an cutted one. That's the first one, and the second one is like we are passing sub the first parameter and leaving the last parameter and saving it in a add sub variable. Then in the second variable result2 we are passing the second parameter. Now while calling it both things will be added and the value subtracted and the value is given. That's like this. Then in Scala there is also a nested function. This means if I am integer, we can write another function inside of it. While calling this function, and I am saving this one. Let's see what's the output of this one shows. It throws one error. Sorry. Let's save it again. Let's see. Okay. Let's see what it has given. It is an empty value. What's wrong with this one? We have to return the value, right? I forgot to return it here. Let's see. Let's save it and check what it's giving. It shows that recursive method sub needs result type. Let's see what's the error in this one. Let's try this. Coming through some error. Let's see what's sorry. Recursive method sub needs result type. Okay, I think this is the one strong. Let me try it out again. Okay, I have to take this one. What's there in the editing, right? Again, it's the same error. Oh, I have called the same function over here. That's the thing. Let's see. I think this will work out now. Yeah, it worked. What it does is, before I'm calling the same function over the recursive function, so we have to be careful while calling the nested function over here. Now you can clearly see the output which came correctly. Then in function, we can see with the variable length parameters in Scala, you can define function of variable length parameters. It allows you to pass any number of arguments at the time of calling the function. Let's see one example for this function with variable length parameters. I'm giving the parameters 1, 2, 6. In this function, what I have written is, in this I am getting the arguments of integer which can be of any number of integers, any length it will accept. Let's see what it does. I'm saving this. Okay. Yes, save it again. And run it. The output came correctly as 21. Which means in this it takes in sub function we are passing this these many functions 1 2 3 4 5, and we are saving taking the arguments with the variable a and adding those functions until it reaches end. So which means it shows the correct value 6 plus 5 11 7 3, which means 21. It came correctly. That's it for this tutorial. Thank you.